The following video contains spoilers. We suggest watching the episodes alone in the dark. Merry Christmas, Wolfpack! We're back, and we celebrate this great holiday by taking a look at the first Christmas special from the hit series R.L. Stine's The Haunting Hour. Yep, it's the most wonderful time of the year again, and since we already took a look at the show's worst holiday special ever, we're going to see how well The Haunting Hour takes on the holiday's loving spirit this time on a more adventure-filled episode. I know it's ironic how we already did Goodwill Toward Men, the last episode of The Haunting Hour, and the only other Christmas special the show has, but this story actually came out before that one, during the time when The Haunting Hour was still forming its place in our hearts. Yep, this was a first season episode that was shaping our show's destiny. Chronologically, this story came out right after the series premiere Really You, one of the show's scariest tales of horror. Right, because when I think of a psychotic killer doll, the first follow-up story I'd think of is Christmas. Nevertheless, The Haunting Hour wanted to give us a holiday tale of suspense that touched us on a horror level, a heartwarming level, and a comedy level. For those of you who are new here, I have a pretty bad history with the show trying to take on comedy stories, mainly because the comedy is always the weakest part. But maybe it won't be all that bad. After all, the story includes the legend of the Krampus. The Krampus is a Christmas demon, best known for punishing naughty children and sometimes awful adults during the holidays through abduction and brutal murder. Perfect entertainment for all the families out there. For those of you who are already drawing comparisons to that movie of the same name, no, this episode isn't exactly like that at all. True, there are some scenes that feel vaguely similar to the Krampus movie, but in the end, the episode and the movie are totally different on how they handle the Krampus. So now you all must be curious as to how this horror show handled their own Krampus, which will really surprise you. Was this story a great gift from our favorite horror show, or was it a lump of coal dropped in the bottom of our stocking? Well, let's stop wasting time and begin. This is my review on The Haunting Hour Christmas story, A Creature Was Stirring. So our episode opens up with your standard optimistic Christmas music playing as we meet our main characters, the Morgan family. We see the oh so cute and innocent little Timmy waking up his depressed family in the morning to open up their presents, where we get all the nauseating cuteness overload of Timmy being so excited that Santa came. Apparently, this is set on Christmas Day and not Christmas Eve. But while Timmy's overjoyed for Christmas, the same cannot be said for his family. We see the parents, Donald and Janice, arguing about something while walking downstairs, but they say they'll put aside their differences for now for the sake of the kids. Boy, I wonder what this'll mean. Timmy excitedly says that he hopes Santa Claus got his letter since he made a special wish that he wanted Santa to grant him. Don't you worry, boyo. I can always help with that. So after we die of a sugar rush from the sweetness of Timmy, we then meet Timmy's jerk older siblings, two obnoxious brats named Becky and Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark.
On a side note, Mark is played by the same actor who played the gang kid Dexter on the episode The Cast. I bring this up because Mark's actor was the only actor to return for another Haunting Hour episode since absolutely no one else here did, most likely due to their cringy performances throughout this episode, as you'll all see soon enough. So, exactly like in Goodwill Toward Men, everyone in the family except for the main character is a jerk who doesn't value the spirit of Christmas. This is an overused theme that's been featured in almost every Christmas tale you've ever seen before. To be fair, this is still a first season episode, so I won't be too harsh on this setting, but all it does is make me hate goodwill toward men even more, because it showed that the writers recycled this exact setup for their series finale 4 seasons later. That's pretty lazy writing for a show that is this unique. At least in A Creature Was Stirring, they do make the family slightly more tolerable, if not a little exaggerated in their Christmas hate. But we'll see how this plays out later. So the jerk family ruins Christmas by picking fights with each other, acting mean-spirited, criticize each other, and act just as materialistic as Missy's rich jerk family. This does get a bit ridiculously cartoony at certain points. For example, the older brother Mark actually complains about his present because he asked for an iPad and instead got an iPod. Oh no, not an iPod. I mean, sure, it's much more than what those war-torn third world countries get for their holiday gifts, but screw them, I have my first world white people problems. I've got an iPod. The sister Becky also complains about her present, which is an ugly dress. Oh, come on, Mom, a blue dress? I wanted the red dress. So as you can all guess, everyone but our innocent hero is a jerk on Christmas. Timmy feels butthurt about his family problems, but while he hopes for Christmas to get better, a blizzard strikes completely out of nowhere, snowing everyone in. Hey, it's just like in that other movie, only minus the ominous snowman army. What did you expect, an abominable snowman in Pasadena? While the parents panic about this random snowstorm, we get a moment where the mom swears on this family-friendly Christmas special.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
My God!
But suddenly, a Christmas ghost appears and flies under the family's tree, where Timmy sees that a special present was left for him, which begins shaking and making violent noises. So of course he's going to open it up. We then see it's a Krampus, or a micro Krampus inside the box, and he steals the iPod. But the monster shreds the iPod to millions of pieces, because I guess he wanted an iPad too, which causes Timmy to run away. Our hero tries telling his bickering parents that there's a monster in the house, but of course they don't believe him.
Well, if he's not going to do anything...
So, since his parents dismiss his warnings, it looks like little Timmy will have to take care of this all by himself. But that's okay, because he'll take on the Krampus with his Nerf machine gun, now available at your local Toys R Us. So we get what I think is supposed to be a suspenseful scene with Timmy looking around before he sees the Krampus running upstairs, where we see that the demon destroyed the whole hallway in literally a few seconds. Wow, Krampus works fast. He doesn't even need those stupid gingerbread minions when he can desolate a room in under a few seconds faster than the Flash. Timmy goes to his jerk brother Mark to ask for help, but of course he doesn't believe him and acts like a jerk. But then he soon believes Timmy when the Krampus calls under his bedsheets to attack him. Don't worry guys, Bailey Madison will take care of this. No, instead the Krampus jump scares them and spits acid at the TV. Yeah, apparently the Krampus has acid for spit. Who knew? The guys run over to their sister Becky for help, but she thinks they're just crazy until the Krampus attacks her room too by jump scaring Becky in the closet. Well, at least it's not as bad compared to what was in that other Becky's closet. But then wacky comedy ensues when they hilariously try to fight the miniature Krampus puppet and fail. Oh, seeing children fighting a demon from hell is just good old Christmas fun. The Krampus vanishes, putting the kids on edge while they wonder who would have sent such a monster to them. However, before they can think about it, the parents come in and think that the kids are acting up, but when they all try to warn them about the Krampus, they don't believe them. So while the family cleans up, the kids find divorce papers scattered on the floor. When they confront the parents on this, they reveal that they're separating, and this was going to be the last Christmas they shared together with the kids. This whole time while they were arguing in their scenes before was really them discussing their divorce case and keeping it a secret from the kids. Wow, getting a divorce and hiding it from their children? Nothing but Christmas joy for everyone here. Not that I'm complaining, but this seems to be a pretty heavy subject, especially for kids. It doesn't help that the previous scenes had the children comedically combating the micro Krampus and this family showing us why they shouldn't stay together. I'm just saying that this episode should kind of balance out their tone better. But before they can talk more about this, they suddenly hear a noise in the basement where the parents decide to go check it out, thinking that it's just a wild animal. After they leave, the kids reconcile with each other and apologize for being jerks, mending their sibling love. Wait, really? Just like that, these wild kids got over all their hostility towards each other after surviving a monster attack? That seems pretty rushed, Haunting Hour. Who knew that all you needed was a demon attack to fix your sibling relationship? But anyways, the parents go down under the creepy basement where they continue to argue with one another. Are you sure the story wanted to teach the spirit of Christmas and not argue for anti-marriage propaganda? But their marital spats are interrupted when the Krampus jump scares them and spits acid at them, causing the two to run away. The parents finally believe the kids and decide to leave while they still can, but there's a surprise waiting for them at the door. No, it turns out they're snowed in, trapping them inside with the Krampus. All the windows are frozen shut, the phone lines are dead, and they all have zero reception on their mobile devices. Bet you regret not getting that iPad now, huh, Dad? But the micro Krampus has super strength since he breaks down the door, forcing the Morgans to run upstairs to hide in the attic. Right, because it's not like the monster has wings to fly up there. The Morgans realize that they're trapped, but decide to camp out until the snow melts, where everyone begins to finally calm down. But uh-oh, the Krampus turns on the gas line. Oh boy. The episode puts that aside for now, because a leaky gas line isn't that important, and we cut back to the family, where, if you can believe it or not, the Morgans finally begin to bond with each other and mend their dysfunctional relationship. Yes, really. They all begin remembering the good times, cracking cheesy jokes, and telling how they'll get to have fun again once this whole Krampus nuisance is over. Yeah, nothing like a home invasion by a demon from hell to pull the family together. The kids then ask the parents why they're getting divorced, where they admit that it's not because of the kids, but because they feel like they're drifting apart. The parents say that all they do is argue, and they feel like they've lost all feelings for each other, stating that they just don't want the kids to live under their constant fighting. Geez, that's some serious stuff right there. This is why I love the Haunting Hour. It's not afraid to tell the children under 7 some pretty serious real-world problems, but through fantastical magic scenarios. That's something that makes this show so fantastic. Oh, but don't worry, this dark adult problem is still conquered easily, because get this, we get another nauseatingly cute moment where sweet little Timmy grabs an old family photo with everyone happily together to show for everyone, and he reveals that his Christmas wish this whole time was for the family to stay together. Please tell me I'm not the only one who finds these over-the-top cutesy moments cringy at times. I do like that the Haunting Hour wants to be heartwarming, but this is just too corny. So corny that I'm suffering from cuteness overload. It doesn't help that Timmy's only role in this is to be the cute, innocent character, since all the character growth goes towards his jerk family. If you like it, that's fine, but I feel like the Haunting Hour had much more tamed emotional moments than this. You didn't need to throw in a cute child moment in episodes like The Fun House, Toy Train, or Grandpa's Glasses, yet the Christmas special here made that mistake. But back in the plot, it looks like the family was touched by Timmy's sweet, gentle kindness, and they all reunite as a loving family. Too bad the Krampus finds a match and blows up the house. Sorry, that was the bad ending. Instead, the Krampus just sets the house on fire, where he tries to smoke the family out, because of course he does. Realizing that they have little time left before burning to death, the Morgans look for an escape, where the father remembers that the chimney is old and breaking apart. So the family does the Walking Dead game strategy of breaking down the weakest structure, since they begin tearing down the chimney shaft to jump out and escape, naturally before an awesome explosion that they barely dodge, which consumes the house. So yeah, the family unites to escape the fire, they get outside, and they watch as their poor house burns down.
It's all gone.
That house had 2 days left until retirement. This is a sad Christmas day.
While their house burns down, the family sees that the snow magically disappeared as they hear the fire department heading on their way. But that might not matter, since their house is already scorched to the ground and the family lost everything. But as the family feels butthurt about losing all their stuff and having nothing now, Timmy cheers them up by showing them the family photo and says that this was the best Christmas ever, since in the end he got his wish.
This is the best Christmas ever.
It's all gone.
This is the best Christmas ever. This is the best Christmas ever. This is the best Christmas ever.
They're homeless now. Seriously, they lost everything. The Morgans are homeless now. They lost their house, their possessions, their clothes, their money, and who knows what else in that blazing inferno. How is this a happy ending? As far as we know, they have nothing. They're homeless and are living on the streets for a while during the rest of winter. The writers couldn't have dropped in a small line that implies they had somewhere to go? Maybe other family or friends who could give them a place to live? Something? They lost their home and Lord knows what else, but we're supposed to be happy that they're still together now? Did they even drop a hint about the parents canceling their divorce? I don't even think that the writers gave the impression that the parents are still staying together after all this. They just forgot to address that subplot. You actually forgot to give us hope for our main characters after they barely survived an attempt on their life? Writers, you could do better than this. This was the best Christmas ever, except we're homeless now and have nothing. But hey, at least little Timmy got his Christmas wish. Thank goodness they didn't do a crossover where the homeless Morgan family met Missy's homeless family at the shanty town. Merry Christmas. Hope you can survive the brutal cold winter out there on the streets. But remember everyone, even the rich deserve Christmas too. Once again, we got an ending that wasn't fully thought out by the writers. But it's not over yet, because we then get our twist ending. It is so bizarre that you all just need to see this.
And to all a good night.
Oh, so Santa Claus was the bad guy. He wanted to get back at all the children for asking him their Christmas wishes by unleashing his pet monster on them to destroy their homes. Truly, Santa Claus has brought the Morgans Christmas joy by taking away everything they ever had. Thanks, Psycho Claus. I mean, what am I supposed to make of this? Santa Claus sent the Krampus to blow up this family's house and leave them homeless just to make a child's Christmas wish come true? That's horrible. Hey, Santa, what would have happened if the Krampus succeeded at blowing up the family while they were still trapped in the house? Seriously, why is the Haunting Hour portraying Santa as a terrorist who'd blow up your house if you asked him for help? The Haunting Hour. We demonize angels and Santa Claus. So the episode literally ends with Santa Claus showing up in his gangsta limo to pick up Krampus as they drive off into the night to head to Snoop Dogg's crib for a Christmas party. Merry Christmas, everyone! And that was A Creature Was Stirring. How does it hold up? Well, it was decent. This episode has a ton of stupid moments, but it doesn't get to the point where you declare it outright awful. The plot is pretty short and simple. The family hates Christmas, everyone except Timmy acts like a jerk, the Krampus attacks each family member one by one, and they unite together against a common enemy. Not many twists and turns on this tale. The story wants to teach a moral about how family should stick together and learn to appreciate each other more, which it does convey. Sure, it does get to pretty unbearably cute degrees that make us vomit sunshine and rainbows, but some of the moments are pretty touching. The characters are not all that deep, but the entire point of this is to make it seem like they're the average family, so viewers can feel sympathy for them. The writers really want us to relate with these characters and hope they learn to appreciate the true spirit of Christmas. But the problem is that the family can act too cartoony and over the top in their jerk moments. It gets to the point where even the children under 7 can easily figure out the plot in a few seconds. It's such a generic holiday special to have the characters fail to cherish the idea of giving to others and learning to be grateful for what they have, which ends up making this episode pretty forgettable. The Morgan family has some great moments, but they can get cringy a lot of times, especially little Timmy, who feels so cute and innocent that you can't help but groan at how sugary sweet all his lines are. The kid playing Timmy is not very good. I'm not familiar with his other work, and he never appeared in another Haunting Hour story again, but from what I've seen in this episode, he was the weakest actor in the episode. His childish innocence gets way too overused, to the point where it gets awkward whenever he delivers his cliched speeches on love and family. I can see why the show never had children around Timmy's age for main characters on the other episodes now. I understand that they want us to feel for him, but they didn't have to make the family mean-spirited just to make us like this kid more than them. The rest of the family does have their own cringy-worthy moments at times, but in the end, they got better once they acted like actual people and not cartoons. But let's talk about what you all want to talk about, the Krampus. Although this episode never addresses exactly what this creature is, it's strongly implied to be the Christmas Punisher Krampus. The effects for this thing are actually alright. I do admire the puppetry and animatronics they use for the demon, since it does show that the monster is really there and interacting with the human actors. It's pretty cool. However, they do make the Krampus kind of a comic relief villain. The staff are well aware that the monster looks way too ridiculous and nobody's going to be totally afraid of him, so instead of making him out as a dead serious villain, they go the Gremlins route by making him a crazy little monster that destroys everything and is more of a destructive feral beast over the master planner or more complex villain. The Krampus has very little depth as an antagonist, but it's really easy to look past that, since he does have an awesome design, and the show does treat him as a serious threat, despite his small stature. Though I do wonder if the producers plan to make a giant Krampus figure, only to have them end up using the mini-figurine instead. It might have actually been scarier if they did the Krampus like Alien, and have him grow from the small-sized demon and into a bigger creature as time moved on, since that would have been some great horror. But sadly, the show wanted the Krampus to be more comedic with his villainous actions, being more over the top than horrifying. It was actually pretty funny that the demon was really Santa's pet the whole time, and I'd be lying if I said the ending wasn't funny. Don't get me wrong, it's still an incredibly stupid twist to go out on, but it was actually pretty funny to see Santa Claus guest star on the Haunting Hour, riding in a gangsta limo, picking up his bro the Krampus, before just dumping Timmy's Christmas letter on the ashes of his home like a supervillain, and just driving off into the night laughing like this was a good idea. Seriously, why did Santa want to reunite the family by using a killer demon to attack them? It almost feels like the show is portraying Santa Claus as the bad guy, which does lead me into the worst part of this episode, the ending. While it is a bit funny that Santa and the Krampus planned this all along, I do have to point out how horrible it is that the Morgans lost their house and everything else because of Timmy's Christmas wish. They really are homeless now and are going to struggle with their current situation after this horrifying experience. Yet the story treats this like it's a good thing. The writers overlooked so many huge problems that really could have been glossed over if they just dropped a few lines that implied they had somewhere to go after this. While Santa showing up was funny, it also makes him seem a bit evil since our heroic Christmas icon hangs out with a psycho demon. And we don't want children to think that Santa is an evil monster who would help spread joy by sicking a demon on our homes. The writers just really needed to think all this through. However, I do think that this Christmas special is 1,000 times better than Goodwill Toward Men. Why? Because the family actually learned from all this. They learned how to become better people of their own free will. That's where Goodwill Toward Men screwed up royally, because at the end of their episode, Missy and her rich jerk family had to be brainwashed into becoming good people. Our hero, the Christmas Angel, brainwashed Missy and her family into turning good against their will, and we were supposed to feel happy for them because even the rich deserve Christmas too. The disturbing morals and incredibly awful lesson ruined that episode. But here, on A Creature Was Stirring, the worst parts are some of the acting, the hit and miss comedy, and a pretty horrific ending when you really think about it. However, A Creature Was Stirring succeeds on its Christmas moral about how we should not be materialistic and appreciate our families more. The Krampus did destroy everything since, well, material objects burn and they wear out over time. Our objects aren't always going to be there for us. It's our family that we should learn to cherish. We shouldn't take our loved ones or friends for granted since people are not as easily replaceable as our material things. While this episode does have its dumb moments, it knows what kind of story it wants to be, thanks to its endearing moral. Goodwill Toward Men was an awful Christmas episode where horrible characters were rewarded for all their atrocious behavior, but on A Creature Was Stirring, the family actually grew into better people, and the moral was planned out much better. Not everything about this episode was that great, but it definitely does a much better job at trying to give us a supernatural Christmas. It might not have been the best, but it really tried, so I can give it credit for starting the Haunting Hour out as a show with more variety thanks to mixing up so many genres. It might not do it that well, but I'd say this story is pretty watchable. I give this episode a silver skull. It's a passable episode, but doesn't exactly do the Haunting Hour justice. The worst parts are, of course, some of the pretty cringy acting, weak comedy moments here and there, and it's a little too over the top with the family members, and not to mention a poorly planned out ending that has quite a number of horrific consequences in the long run. But the best parts are the wacky Santa Claus cameo, the Krampus, the simple story to follow, and a great moral to showcase the true spirit of Christmas. A Creature Was Stirring is a flawed episode, but it does its best to form an example for other Haunting Hour episodes to improve on. This Christmas special is a pretty strange tale on how you can experience a bizarre holiday this year. I'd recommend it if you want to experience the Haunting Hours version of the Krampus tale. It's a bizarre episode, but a very fun experience to just laugh at. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, or just tune in for more videos posted here on Wolf Entertainment. I'm your host, Catastrophe, and I hope you're all good this year. Because if you're not, then Santa Claus will dump a demon from hell on your house to kill you and your family. Merry Christmas, everyone!
For goodness sake, take the prize and leaving nothing but flakes. Don't be a jerk. Don't be a jerk. It's Christmas. Santa brought nearly every gift on your list. Why whine about the one that he missed? Don't be a jerk. It's Christmas. It's Christmas. Be a jerk. It's Christmas. Don't be a jerk.
You better be good, boys and girls, or I'll beat you until blood's coming from your ears and your eyes and your mouth. Merry Christmas! And from your ass.